Hi, welcome to the video on Screen Printed Electrodes. So I'm going to very quickly go through 5 questions. They're mostly commercial, but I will mix up some commercial questions, but I will mix up some technical answers as well. So first question, do we have a graphene electrode with some silver chloride counter and reference? The answer is yes. We don't have them in pack sizes of 20, but I will address that. Do we have carbon nanotubes? The answer is no, but please watch because I'll show you how to make a carbon nanotube electrode from one of our graphite screen printed electrodes. They want a graphene working electrode, gold counter, and silver chloride reference. Actually, that's a very unusual combination, and the simple answer is we don't have it. Graphene working, gold counter. When people say that, it's because they've made something in a glass cell where they have a gold rod and they have a graphene rod and a gold counter electrode, and they put in a silver chloride reference, and that's they're doing it in a beaker, and then they want to translate it onto a screen printed electrode. You don't need to have a gold electrode with a graphene electrode. I would actually suggest the silver chloride is better, because silver chloride counter electrode, when the counter electrode is undergoing oxidation, silver becomes silver chloride is insoluble, that's great. And when the counter electrode is undergoing reduction, silver chloride becomes silver's insoluble, that's great. When you've got gold, you don't really quite know what's going on. It may be the oxidation, it may be oxidations reductions, it could be hydrogen generation, oxygen evolution, hydrolysis. You don't know. I'd actually argue in this particular case with number 3, the better counter electrode here is actually silver chloride. All right, number 4, let me just go forward a little bit. They want 50 screen printed electrodes, carbon, fine, that's standard. And then this one is 50 maybe screen printed gold electrodes, and that's fine, that's standard. So let me go through. First of all, they want connectors. So at Zimmer & Peacock, in fact, we have a web store, and I'm just going to very quickly go to it. And what I'll do is I'm just going to go to the home page first of all, so you can come in on any of this and go, okay, connector. Alright, so there's the SP to banana connectors. Lots of screen printed electrodes, lots of potentiostats have male banana plugs. So we have a version here where you put the electrode banana plugs, the potentiostat banana plugs in here. Now all of the electrodes I'm going to show today in this video are 7mm, so do not choose a 10mm, it's a 7mm. And one of them a lot of potentiostats either have 2mm banana plugs or 4mm banana plugs. I'd say that, in fact, there you are, you can see it's nice and big. I would say majority of people would be served, if they're using ZP screen printed electrodes, it's the 7mm SPE here, and it's probably the 2mm banana plugs. Some of the larger potentiostats maybe have the 4mm, but most of the time it's the 2mm. Alright, so that's the connector taken care of. So absolutely, there is a website called shop.zimmerpeacock.com, and there you will find connectors. It is a good idea to buy our connectors. I've had people have poor performance in the past because they've been using third-party connectors, so do buy our connectors. A pack of 2 is economical, 7mm is the size you want, and then you probably, if you're not using a ZP potentiostat, this is a Sensi Ore potentiostat. It's a real beast, it's really quite good. And in fact, this one is very elegant because it's so easy to put screen printed electrodes into it. But that said, if you're not using our screen printed electrodes, then you're probably using one of the competitors. They've got banana plugs, and you'll need one of these adapters, and it's probably the case that you're using 2mm banana plugs. Now back to the questions. Graphene. So ZP does have a graphene sensor. If you go to this website and put in graphene, you should find this. So let me just illustrate the point now. Go in. I'll put graphene. There it comes, graphene sensor. We don't do a pack of 20, but pack of 10, for example. So if I want 20, add to cart as an example. Right, not that you have to buy it from the store, it just gives you a quick sense of the pricing. Let me just go back to here. So yeah, we do have graphene, and we do have it with a silver chloride reference and counter. Carbon nanotubes we do not have. In fact, I just show again that, if you've ever got a question whether we've got something or not, I'll just put in CNT into here. No, we don't have it. I knew we didn't have it, but I just put it in there anyway. But you can make a carbon nanotube, but I'd actually say the 501 is a good choice for this, because it's got a circular electrode, and you can just drop cast the carbon nanotube solution onto there. It evaporates, and carbon nanotubes will stick very well to the graphite. I mean, they're both basically allotropes of carbon. They're going to have good interaction and stick. Now, with this particular question, the questioner did actually say, I think they said a silver counter, but I would argue silver chloride is perfectly fine. So there it is. Now, in that case, they would have to kind of put a stripe along there. By the way, we do that in our lab all the time. So they can either use our 501 carbon or our HyperValue screen printed electrode. I might just show how to find those. So I'll just go in, I'll put in carbon actually. So it's pulled up the 501, so there you go, 501. It's probably worth buying it in a sheets of 300 and perforated. That's the most economic way of purchasing it. I'll just go back and do carbon again. Carbon. Here we go, HyperValue electrodes. Sheet of 300 perforated. It's a really good price. But people do like the 501 carbons. Right, next question. They want a working electrode that's graphene, a counter electrode that's gold, and a reference that's silver chloride. Yeah, I did comment on that. We really don't have something like that. I'd actually generally say that the graphene sensor or graphene screen printed electrode I commented on earlier on, that is a good one for this. Their only compromise they're doing is going from gold to silver chloride as a counter electrode. But silver chloride will give them a lower compliance voltage. It gives them certainty in the chemistry that they're actually doing on that counter electrode. If we put gold, silver chloride and graphene, you can understand that there's like 3 materials there. It just ends up being more expensive. So we don't have it, and I generally think the graphene screen printed electrode is good enough for their application. Now in this one, they just kind of says, oh, I want 50 screen printed carbon electrodes and a connector. I have discussed the connector. I think the 501 is a good choice. I think it's worth buying in the sheets of 300 and buy it in the perforated format. Perforated format just means we give you a sheet where we've kind of cut along all the edges, so you can just pop them out when you need them. That's what the word perforated means in this application. And then on the gold, it just says I want gold 50. So if you go into shop, if you go to our shop, you'll actually find out that, and I might even do it. If you go to our shop and just go gold, gold, it's going to pull up 2 electrodes. Generally think this is the better option, the HyperValue. Sheet of 100, for example, perforated, that would be the most economic version. So I suggest the HyperValue, and a sheet of 100, for example, in the perforated would be a good kind of compromise. Now, a lot of these questions said packs of 20, packs of 20. So just FYI, if you want, our standard pack sizes are all on that shop website. But for example, if you're in the US, you can actually get a bit of an advantage, let's say, because there's a company that distributes for us in the US. In fact, they're called IO Rodeo. In fact, here's their web store. With IO Rodeo, they're carrying our products. What they're doing then is they're offering a pack size, for example, of pack size of 100. So that's quite good, because what they're doing obviously is buying, and what they're doing is they're buying in bulk, which is great. And then they're actually breaking it down to pack sizes of 10. So, if you want smaller pack sizes, you could contact us, because you may find that the local distributor, once we point you towards the local distributor, actually will do pack sizes of 10 or 20. But the distributors are basically buying, they're doing good business. They're buying larger stocks and breaking them up and adding value by putting them into smaller pack sizes. Now, if you do have any questions regarding ZP and screen printed electrodes, don't hesitate to contact us. As I said, this was a mostly commercial, though I do have some opinions on actually silver chloride as a good counter electrode material. Okay, thanks very much.